So, is it my imagination, or is Legacies like when did Legacies actually get good? Like I've been watching shows like this, especially like the Vampire Diaries, since like the premiere episode. I remember actually watching it live. Um, and Legacies, I'm gonna be honest, had an extremely rough start, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And they would throw these stupid, dumbass monsters of the week. I mean, you had. I felt like it got to a point where they just stopped caring when they had Santa Claus versus Krampus. I'm just like, what the hell am I watching? What is this? On top of the fact that, well, I really do not like Hope Michelson at all. At all. So seasons 1, 2, and 3 were just terrible. Was just absolutely terrible. It's like everything that you loved about the Vampire Diaries in the originals, they just said, nah, screw all that. Nope, we're just going to be focusing on ships and who looks cute together. Oh, and we're throwing some little kitty monsters of the week. And I'm just like, I don't understand, Julia. How do you go from the Vampire Diaries to your originals to this? How do we get to this point? With that being said, this show surprised me. Because for the first time in a very long time, the show actually got good. And it's weird for me to sit there and say. Because I used to sit there and even talk to my friends about it. It's like, yeah, the show's kind of trash. But like with me, like when I start something, I kind of watch it all the way through. Like it just be the worst episodes ever. They could just totally stop caring. And I would just sit there and still watch it. Like when I start something, I want to finish it. And so I just kept expecting this show to just continue to be the utter garbage dump that I've just come to know. But the minute that she... Spoilers, so you probably start watching it if it's up to this point. Okay, the minute that she became a vampire, on top of being a witch and a werewolf, that's when this show got extremely interesting, extremely fast. And I couldn't even believe it. Like, part of me was like, even when they brung in Rebecca, I was just like part of me on the side was like, man, listen, you can bring in all the originals, and this show would still be trash. But I got nothing to say. It's literally just been good. And don't get me wrong, there is portions of the show that is still trash. Whatever Josie got going on with the Wolf Girl, I don't care. I just stopped caring about Josie, to be honest. I don't understand her motivation sometimes. Like, she's in the school, then she decides to leave the school to be with, Elena and Damon off camera because, they're not going to come back to this trash. But she decides to move out and then go to a different school. Okay, she goes to the regular, normal human school. And then she meets a werewolf. And then she goes back to the Salvatore school. Again. Then she goes right back. So you moved out because of whatever reason, I totally forgot. And then you move right back in. And then you decide, screw it, I'm just going to leave. But I'm going to still sit there and help Hope. This is something that, don't get me wrong, I'm loving the way that the show's going. And I'd be lying if I didn't sit there and say that Hope Michelson has definitely had some very, very, very extreme badass moments. But with that being said, I don't understand how these people still want to help her. Okay? I still have a grudge against her for the simple fact that she killed her mother. She got her mother killed, and subsequently got her dad killed, and her uncle killed because, they want to sit there and, Klaus wants to sit there and save Hope because he's a dad and that's what he does. And Elijah wants to sit there and go with him to the afterlife because, he's not letting Klaus face anything by himself. But that was all Hope's doing because Hope wanted to see her dad, knowing the stakes. Knowing the stakes, she still wants to see her dad, no matter what, consequences be damned. So I still have an issue with her. And the fact that she damn nearly killed Alaric, got him in a coma, people still sit there like, oh, well, what can we do to help her? We gotta sit there and help Hope. There's still some good in her. Are you kidding me? I cannot believe Josie said that. You know, the sad thing is, the character that's my favorite, actually, which is Lizzie, had the most normal reaction that I was like, see, this is why I mess with her. She was like, yo, this bitch is dead. I'm going to sit there and try to make sure I find a way to kill her. Now, they're sitting there talking about, oh, well, you know, she's practically like an original. I'm like, I am so not going to get into that because there is so many problems with that sentence in itself. But then they bring in Alora. I think that's her name, Alora. And here's my whole thing about this whole fight. Alora, you know, her power level, even Julia said, was very close to the Michelsons. Except for maybe Klaus because, you know, werewolf side. But for the most part, she's damn near just as almost as strong as an original. And yet, she had to go through all these other tactics or whatever to sit there and beat Hope. And I'm like, I feel like she could have went toe-to-toe with her for a little bit. I don't understand Hope and her whole power level and why she is just, I'm not going to sit there and say OP, but just as strong as she is. I mean, people are comparing her to an original, and I'm like, you are damn near a new vampire. And yeah, you're a witch, you're a werewolf, and that grants you some sort of super strength and, you know, adding to your vampire, your vampirism would add you another bit of strength, but that's just the same thing as almost a hybrid, though. You know? So I don't understand why she's that much more stronger than any hybrid that's been on the show, but, you know, Hope is special and she could do no wrong, and, you know, that's just how it is. But yeah, they brung in Alora. And to be honest, here's the thing. She walks in, because, you know, you have this Tribeard company or whatever that's going after Hope that's going to try to kill her. So she's like, alright, cool, I'm going to go after you first. And she walks in there with the most arrogant attitude possible because she is clearly just untouchable and unstoppable. And so she takes out the witches. Well, she takes out one of the witches. Then she takes out the werewolf. And then Alora. And she comes at her so arrogantly to the point where now the tables turn and she lost her body. She does get it back, but oh my god. Lizzie. Lizzie wanted her to suffer. She didn't want what Alora wanted. Alora wanted, like, like when she heard Alora's plan, she was like, yeah, I'm not, no, this, you going a little bit too far. So, Alora wound up Lizzie wound up tricking Alora, getting Hope's body back. Hope has her body back, and Lizzie thinks that she has her humanity back. But she doesn't. And she snaps Lizzie's neck. I'm sitting there thinking, alright, so, obviously at this point, she's going to come back as a heretic. Which was actually funny, because they all did an interview when they were like doing like a pop quiz or whatever, like, you know, like the originals and Vampire Diary information or whatever. And one of the things that the actress said was, it would be cool if I came back as a heretic because she's a siphoner. And they actually did it. So that's great. But my issue is they're still gonna try to find some sort of way to redeem Hope. And people are going to sit there and be like, no, we gotta redeem her, we gotta save her, there's still some good... She, just keep in mind that she damn nearly killed Alaric. And she snapped Lizzie's neck like a goddamn twig and just walked away like she was just taking out the garbage. And people are... And the sad thing is, the people that are just uber fans of of Hope in the show, whatever, they're just like, well, she must have knew that, Hope drunk, that Lizzie drunk vampire blood. No, she did not. For anyone who's thinking that, they're dead ass wrong. She literally turned around and was like, you're supposed to be dead. I get it to some extent, because some people are just really young. They're like 15 and Hope is like their idol and they really love the show. So they're going to find ways to sit there and redeem her and be like, no, she's not that bad. She knew that she drunk the blood. The hell she did not. Okay? And by the way, so the afterlife for supernaturals is gone, right? But what, hell and heaven doesn't exist? Why is Alaric with the other supernatural beings? Like, why is it just one space for everyone that's dead now? Is that how that works? There's no more heaven, there's no more hell, it's just... I don't understand that. I really... I mean, granted, this show has still gotten a 1,000 times better. I think maybe their ratings just dropped so low that they were like, alright, we gotta do something. We gotta do something, and something fast. Because that crap that we were doing before with the Monster of the Week and the really bad CGI and the stupid... I mean, I get it, it's a teen show, so they're gonna sit there and show some sort of teenage angst, but it got to a point where it's like, it became nearly unwatchable. It became nearly just unwatchable. And it was just one of those things where it's like, I don't understand how the show is still, like, existing. How... I think it's partly partly due to the fact that the originals ended the way it did. And there was a void that needed to be filled. And there you go. There you go. We got Legacies. But when I did my video the first time and I went on the page or whatever, I was like, who is this show for? Because it's clearly not for the people that enjoyed the Vampire Diaries and the originals. This is some new BS. Where they just do Monsters of the Week, really stupid, dumb Monsters of the Week, really bad CGI, Hope being a crap-ass character that she is. I don't know what to really say about this show. It's definitely improved, so I give them props for that, but I hope that it stays on this course. Because if they start to slide backwards and start doing this... I mean, they got a goddamn fairy on there, okay? They got a goddamn fairy on there. I sat there, I was like, bro, I'm not sitting there trying to act like I'm the most masculine of men or anything like that, but... How do you go from Damon and Stefan Salvatore to this guy who's a fairy? And yet somehow this show actually improved. So I gotta give them props where props is due. I hope they will continue with this this new path, because if they don't, well, I don't really know what to say. Anyway, that's just my thoughts about the season so far. I actually can't wait until January, towards the end of January, when the second half of the season starts. So let me know what your thoughts are about this season of Legacies. Surprised the hell out of me.